What's going on? Jake here with Uncommon EDC. Today we're taking a look at the Katara 16 by Vanquest. This is a smaller pack at 16 liters, so going to be a great daily carry, maybe not so much if you want to carry everything but the kitchen sink, but a really versatile bag. And we are going to switch over to my typical tabletop view in a bit here, but there's a few things I wanted to show before we did. So starting with these exterior dimensions, this is 18 inches tall by 10.5 inches wide with a depth of 7 inches. So going to be a pretty small footprint, rides nice high on the back, very comfortable. And worth noting that this ships as a backpack, your conventional 2 straps like you would see on any backpack here. But the cool feature on this one is that it's convertible to a sling. So either of these straps are removable. You can reposition the other one so that you can carry this as a left or right-handed sling if you want to prioritize quick access, or maybe you just prefer a sling. So really nice functionality there. We also have this beefy grab handle at the top that is padded, so it's not going to fatigue as fast as if it were just a straight nylon strap. And the exterior material here is a 500D Cordura, super durable material. Everyone knows Cordura, so that's great. And available in a bunch of different colors. I went with my go-to, which is of course multicam black, but they do have solid colors as well, and that does affect the price point somewhat. So any of your solid base colors are going to run $205, but the multicam black version is $225. So not a huge difference, but there is a slight difference there in the price point. Now, last thing I wanted to look at before we move on to the tabletop view is just the overall modularity of this pack. So there's a ton of internal organization, but it seems like they definitely prioritize modularity here. We have a generous hook and loop field on the exterior here, and that extends to the interior as well. Tons of hook and loop on the interior, so you can attach your pouches, your patches, any of their accessories. And then you also have MOLLE webbing, and so a generous section of MOLLE webbing on that bottom pocket. It does extend to the sides as well, and some straps on the bottom. And the nice thing about both the hook and loop system and that MOLLE webbing system is that they're going to be universal. So of course Vanquest sells their own accessories that work with each of these systems, and things like the Hydra water bottle is a really great attachment for this one because it doesn't have a built-in water bottle carrier. So something like that would be great. But if you already have pouches or accessories that you're using with hook and loop or with MOLLE webbing, you can plug those in right away without worrying about it. It doesn't have to be specific to the brand. So with that being said, let's get this unpacked. It'll be a few minutes for me, but should be instant for you. Gonna swap over to that tabletop view. So this camera angle is a little bit tight, but we can see some of the smaller details, and we'll be able to take a better look at the interior of this bag. So starting with the exterior again, we'll revisit this top pocket, which is where all of the hook and loop on the exterior is featured. This is a really generous section of hook and loop at about 7 inches tall and 8.5 inches wide. Something that you don't get a lot on a ton of backpacks. So a lot of times they'll have small sections of hook and loop. A lot of the times it's just that 2-inch by 3-inch panel. So this is a great candidate for some sort of tearaway type pouch, or if you're into Ranger eyes and patches, a really great place to display those as well. If you leave it blank, you have that Vanquest logo sewn in there, and that looks great just by itself. So you can leave it as is. Now, before we get into the interior of the pockets, let's take a look at the bottom section with that MOLLE webbing. So one thing I didn't point out when the face forward view is that this is the laser cut style of MOLLE webbing rather than nylon straps, and I prefer this section a lot more. And so they're not the only company that does this, but I think it just comes off as a little bit less tactical. Of course, a multicam black pack is going to look a little bit tactical, but if you go with the solid base colors and have that laser cut MOLLE webbing, it just looks a little bit less. It doesn't stand out quite as much. Of course, anyone who recognizes it will recognize it, but I do still like the look of it a lot better. You also have different sort of cutouts here towards the bottom, so if you need that little bit of extra access into getting in behind that MOLLE webbing, you can do that. And yeah, just really prefer that. This bottom segment is going to be about 9.75 inches tall, so a little bit bigger than that top pocket, and still the same 8.5 inches wide. Let's get back into the pocket. We'll start by looking at the zippers. They have these Vanquest pulls on here, which are nice because you can just grab them and pull, and so they're easy to grab onto. And you may notice on this zipper pocket, these are YKK zippers, with the locking mechanism. So if you're using this for travel or just want to lock it for whatever reason, you can definitely do that here. Same thing on the main compartment. That's not featured on this top pocket, I think because that one's more of an admin pocket, so you can reach in and grab some of the stuff really quickly without having to deal with a lock. But that's the only pocket that doesn't have the locking zippers on, at least on the exterior. So we'll start in this top pocket. Again, this one's about 7 inches tall by 8.5 inches wide, and it stops at the top of the bottom pocket, so it doesn't drop all the way down behind there like we do see it in some packs. And so thought that was worth mentioning. It does stop right below the zipper section. We have this high vis orange ripstop nylon, these kind of clear visible pockets on the inside. We'll see that in the main compartment as well. Always like that too, because you can drop a bunch of small items in there without them floating around, but you can also see what's in there without having to open it, so that's nice. There is a larger compartment back here that you can slide. Maybe a small paperback book or your log and jotter field notes type notebooks would fit back in there. You can also just dump random stuff back there. You have 4 elastic loops, and these are wider ones, so you can put bigger items like multi-tools and things like that. Here is where our Vanquest tough built gear tag is, and then of course that zipper compartment with the same style of zipper, that rip zipper that works really well in the front portion of that. Now zipping that back up, we'll get into the bottom compartment. Again, this one is 9.75 inches tall by 8.5 inches wide, and this is a locking pocket. And so we'll fully open that so we can flip this down and see all of that in here. This is where we get our key keeper. We also have a larger compartment back here that will fit smaller devices like iPad minis or a Kindle e-reader. That sort of thing fits in here nicely. You can also put physical books in there a little bit larger than you would in the top pocket. This has more of the ripstop nylon and some larger organization pockets here that are a little bit wider than about double the width actually of the elastic loops on the top. And then of course the flap is just ripstop nylon on the bottom with the same type of pocket on the top. And this is basically the same dimensions, so you get 2 of this pocket that are usable for different types of things if you're storing different types of items there. Before we get on to the interior, on the sides we have the MOLLE webbing over here that allows you to attach the kind of taller types of MOLLE pouches like the water bottle one that I showed earlier. That's going to be identical on both sides. You also have this Velcro segment that allows you to put some sort of concealed carry or just anything else that you want to carry. I do have a holster on the interior because it's a little bit more visible, but this is lined with hook and loop as well, so this would be a great spot to put that. In fact, this is the spot that it's made for. It's just not very visible on camera, so I didn't want to show it in there. So from there, we have the same thing on the other side. There's also this button clasp, so these do open all the way, but these clasps keep it from going all the way, so you can just reach into the top. If you do want to fully clamshell this backpack, you just undo those clasps. In fact, I'm gonna undo that now because we are going to take a look at that on the other side when we get this open. But before we do that, I did want to take a look at these straps. Really nice, thick, padded straps with little breathing air holes. There's also a segment of hook and loop here. I'm not 100% sure what that's for, to be honest. It is on both straps, so maybe there's some sort of attachment that goes with that. But they do have the nylon webbing here, so if you want to attach different things, you also have the cord keepers, the chest strap as well here on the bottom, and you can put that exactly where you want it, but I have it laid out on the bottom. You also get the cord keepers with the nylon straps on the bottom, so you can roll those up so everything stays nice and organized. Now if you want to convert this over to a sling, you just take this off of here. You can see those hook in right here. There is a button right here that exposes some Velcro. That may be a little bit tough to get at this angle, but exposes some Velcro so you can get under there and move those straps a little bit as needed. And so that's a really nice feature as well. You can also see this little pass through. So if you have a bladder in here or just a cable that you want to pass through, you can do that right here. And that does go straight to the interior of the main compartment. So I'm gonna get this last button undone, and then we will flop into the interior portion of this pack. So let's flip this over, find our zippers. Again, locking zippers on the main compartment, and we'll look at it one side at a time. So we'll start with the back portion. So you can see this entire back segment is all hook and loop material, so you can attach additional pouches and organizers here. We have the Velcro at the top that keeps it closed in, and this is for smaller devices, but I actually have a MacBook Pro 13" in here, so that's about the biggest you're gonna be able to accommodate, but it fits that no problem. It's very padded and protected. You have the ripstop nylon high-vis interior on either side, and then the same thing for the hook and loop segment. Just gonna set this off to the side. And so that's everything on the back, but again, really nice spot if you have those internal cubes or pouches that you want to use for organization. Now the top is where you get a lot more of the organization. So we have one of these larger zipper pockets with the clear mesh fabric that you have at the top of that, and then you have this one which you can use for a very large section of just mesh pocket. There's a Velcro segment at the top, but you can also open either side of it, roll it up completely if you want, and have all of this extra hook and loop. You can also, if you're carrying it as a sling and you have your concealed carry here, I think the other spot's probably a better spot, but get that quick access where only this side of the pocket is open. So another really versatile segment. And you can see this is their Velcro hook and loop holster that they sell on their site. So I'll link to all of the accessories I showed down in the description of the video, but I'm not gonna zip this back up, I guess I can. But on the side, we also have these sections. And so these have a pocket behind them and then elastic loop. Good spot for magazines, good spot for tourniquets, or anything else that you can come up with that fits in those pockets. We have identical pockets on either side, so it's gonna be friendly to lefty or righty. And these kind of fold out as wings. This is where the MOLLE attachment for the water bottle pockets are. And so really a ton of organization on this pack. I'm really digging this one. Definitely appreciate them sending this over. I'm gonna be visiting them at Blade Show Atlanta just next week, so really excited to see them, see what other products they have to offer. But I think this is an excellent backpack. First one I'm reviewing on the channel. I have a huge backlog of backpacks, so may get into that. I've been having trouble figuring out exactly where to film it, so may do more like the beginning of the video where it's kind of face front view, or I may just need to get another sort of setup where I can mount my camera a little bit higher off the table so we can get a better view of this. But let me know what you think of this bag down in the comments below. I will link to the bag and accessories in the description of the video. If you enjoyed the video, consider liking, commenting, subscribing, or joining the channel as a member. They all help the channel out a ton. And as always, I hope you have a great one. Take care.